Alright, hello everyone. Think we are live. Get my last thing set up and checked out. Alright, looks pretty good. Waiting for audio to go through. Alright, and try it again. It's pretty quiet. But hey Sarah, how's it going? I'm going to turn up the music ever so slightly. And as you guys can tell, I'm working on this very, very cute ooze here. Alright, I just bumped the music barely. I've noticed it's really sensitive. Hey, Zaxxus is here too. Hello, you guys. Alright, this is the first live stream in the new place. I'm going to now silence myself because it's weird to hear myself twice. And putting my music back on. There we go. Here's here too. What up? Alright. So yeah, this is the new place. It just looks like an empty white room, but it is a lot nicer, and I'm super, super happy about it. It's been really awesome here. We had like some minor issues with the AC we moved in, which is really the only major issue we had. I know it's kind of a big issue when it's 100 outside, but honestly, I was just so happy to move and not worry about our truck getting broken into anymore. That was something we hadn't super talked about a lot, but like the old round body we had, it was like a monthly occurrence, because those old Silverados, you just like pretty much open them. The locks were useless. Anyway, it just felt really unsafe living there, so I'm excited for somewhere it's still in California, still Central Valley, super safe, and I'm really excited to live here. So yeah. Alright. Sarah says, it goes okay. My computer crashed and erased a few hours worth of work. Ugh, it's so annoying. How's the new place? Yeah, great, as I mentioned. There are a ton of animals where I live out here. There's water nearby, so like we see egrets, ducks, geese, just all the time. There's some turtles there too. I'm a huge animal person, so that's really awesome. We recently moved my horse Spartan to a local barn here, and it's just been awesome. The horse in the stall next to him keeps chewing on him, so he has bite marks all over his butt because he doesn't. He's huge. He's like 16.3 hands, but just no aggression. He is not dominant at all. So you have this giant horse just getting wailed on by like this little one next to him. Whatever. The mean horse is moving next month. Doesn't even matter. But in the meantime, he's looked kind of, I don't know, pathetic about it. Overall, he's happy though. He has a bigger space, so he's pretty happy about that. But yeah, parakeet. Tiki's doing really good too. There's a lot of barn swallows around here, so my parakeet gets to scream at all the birds around here. It's a really good time. Yeah, I think that's all the updates about the new place. Yeah. Everything else works great with the same internet plan, so live streaming should be fine. So yeah. Sarah said, is it dry enough that a swamp cooler would work instead of an AC? Honestly, it totally is. I live in Central Valley, California, and it's like, I don't know, like 10% humidity here tops. So that's not a bad idea. All right. Jester said, your horse's name is Spartan. That's awesome. Yeah. So his original name was Express Himself, because he was a racehorse in Ireland. And I'm not a huge Madonna fan, so I wasn't crazy about that. And he was renamed Spartan once he retired, because he wasn't real fast. He doesn't have a whole lot of hustle. Alright, I'm going to scroll down so I can actually see the chat. Alright, sweet. Let's get rolling here. I haven't made anything gross in a while, so this is kind of funny. And I'm working with some brushes I don't normally work with either. Alright, let's change the background color so I can see. I just do the dramatic black backgrounds because, I don't know, I think they're fun. But yeah, so for this model, I've been using a lot of the snake hook brush to get like all these little like oozies and stuff. And I've also been using the nudge brush. That's how I got like this kind of pooling ooze right here. Never used that before. Another really cool thing that was new to me for this model, I went to deformation. I don't know if you guys can see that because I know I have my head is right there for you guys. So let me scroll up. Alright, so you guys can see the top here. Alright, so there's a deformation tab here and a bunch of deformers. And if you go to gravity, it does kind of what you think it would. It adds, not spherifies, gravity. So see what I mean? So it kind of makes the whole thing start to droop. Right here, it actually doesn't look super good. So let me try the same example with the head and you guys can get the idea. But yeah, see what I mean? It just makes them look like he's melting, or I can do the reverse. So that was actually super helpful. I think this is sensitive to where I put the gizmo. anyway, this has been really fun for me because I just have a lot of different little techniques that I'm using with this. Generally speaking, I only use clay buildup, inflate, damp standard, and move for like everything. Those are just my 4 brushes I use for everything all the time. So yeah, it's kind of fun to have some more specialty brushes for this. Honestly, I don't even know how much detail this is really going to get. I'm just working on like the primary and secondary forms right now. So primary just being like the silhouette, secondary being like the larger, goopier sections, and then any like third, tertiary details are like these Uzis right here. And then I also have this really gross texture. If I go to damp standard and drag rectangle, change this alpha to one of these dots. But you see what I mean? It just looks like super, super gross, and I don't know how gross I want to make it. I have like really mild typophobia, which is the fear of like small holes. Like I'm not afraid of like beehives and honeycombs or anything, but like small holes on skin, I just have like I just get like woozy. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's a dumb fear. It's not really a fear, I guess. It just makes me uncomfortable. I think that's why I'm afraid of spiders. The ones that have multiple eyes, they're, you know, like 8 that are all sectioned together. Again, it's kind of the same kind of look. When I was working on the forest collection during one of the live streams, I had people give me references for mushrooms, and there's this kind of mushroom that looks like it has a bunch of like blood pooling up on it, and it's totally is like covered in red dots. It's like a fleshy tone mushroom, and I was like, thanks guys, I love it. Alright, so before I go in with these really gross details here, I'm going to go back to inflate and add more of these like blobs here. So I've been doing inflate with the drag rectangle brush, having the intensity pretty high, and that's for how I got like, not like that. There we go, like those blobs like that. And then I've been turning on back face mask too, so that way when I do this, it actually keeps the bottom flat. But yeah, I've been kind of trying to give it like a general form, like here's its head, its neck, chest, kind of has like arms. Just because it makes it a little easier for me to structure and plan how I'm going to add details to it. This is loosely based on... Yeah, it looks like OBS did that thing where like it disconnects and reconnects really quickly. So I'm probably going to look into getting a different streaming software because the internet here is actually better than it was before. And I got new cables, so nothing should turn green anymore. But I think OBS is doing its best. It's just not super. It's not super good. Luckily, the disconnects were super short. Sarah says she has a strong fear of falling heights. Makes sense. Phobia folks have to stick together. I'm just a skittish person, which is why I've always found it really funny that I love horses so much. Of all animals, like if you're not familiar with horses, anyone that's watching, they're super spooky. It's a giant 1,000-pound animal, and if you shake a plastic bag, you better run for your life if it's not well trained. Granted, I'm extra biased on that because my horse, again, is a thoroughbred. Thoroughbreds are known to be really hot-blooded and very, very sensitive. It's great for riding because I don't have to put a whole lot of leg pressure, or I don't even use a bit. I use a hackamore because he's so sensitive. I don't have to have something in his mouth. But yeah, on the downside, it's every single week it's a new thing I find that he's afraid of, and I'm like, all right, we're going to work with sponges this week until he's not afraid of them. All right. I actually really like this shape. So the way I got these little arms, in case you're wondering, is I actually flipped it upside down like this, and I grabbed the snake hook brush and did it like this. And the reason I like to flip things upside down like this is because it's limiting where the snake hook brush is going. It can only go on like the XY plane right here. It's getting rid of a dimension. If you go right here and you try and like get your snake hook brush to what you want, when you turn it sideways, you might be unhappy with where it's located right there. So I just try to simplify things by thinking in 2D when I'm working the snake hook brush. Alright, I want more goopies. I don't really like how thin these are, so I'm thinking about adding a large goopy right here. That is the technical term, in case you're wondering. Goopies. Let's see. I'm also going to get rid of any RGB. The dark colored snot, I don't need that right now. I'll worry about painting later. There we go. I think that's gonna, yeah, that looks a lot better, I think. The only problem is I have these ones like swaying and these ones aren't. So what I'll do is I will mask these off, blur that a little bit, and now I'm gonna do a snake hook brush. I'll do that thing I just mentioned where it's like try to simplify it to 2 dimensions. I'm like, I'm gonna work with all 3 again. Gonna change my input type for my inflate brush and lower the intensity. Super gross. I don't make gross things like this very often, but I actually really enjoy it. One of my earliest commissions was for a horror board game. That's kind of a sad story though, because I was doing those commissions really cheap, and he had to pause for a while because he went back to school, and by the time that he got back to me, my rates had literally tripled, and I didn't ask for him to pay the new rates. I was just like, hey, I can't work at essentially like $5 an hour anymore, and he totally understood. But yeah, that's the one thing. If you hire an artist for a big project, you can't sleep on it. This guy got back to me after like a year, you know? So I still thought, I'm not saying it was like cool of me to like not honor the contract, but I wasn't too concerned about that because I just literally couldn't afford to work that cheap anymore. Sarah says, what's the meme? Horses are walking couches with anxiety issues. That sounds about right. Whenever people ask me why I like horses, it's just like so hard to explain because I'm like, yep, they're dangerous, and most of them aren't well trained because people don't train. I always find it weird when people like get into horses and they want like something that's broke. Like I understand that, but specifically they're like, I want it, been there, done that, knows everything. It's like you never stop training your horse ever. They're always gonna be pushing, testing. I say always, like 99.9%. I knew a super old Appaloosa that was like 28, which is like ancient for an Appaloosa. And he wouldn't take advantage of you. He was blind as a bat. He was a sweetheart. I guess he didn't need any more training, but generally speaking, the other 99% of them, you do. You gotta know what you're doing. Alright, that's pretty gross. I like how that's looking a bit better. I do need to add some thickness to this, so I'll go to move, back face mask, and just add some thickness behind here. I don't want to add any width to it because I still want it to look stringy and gross, but by adding some thickness in this direction, it still gives that appearance, but makes it a lot stronger when you 3D print it. Also go with the pinch brush a little bit. Get more of a stretching look. There we go. That's looking better. Disgusting. A new trick that I really liked is using the paintbrush with a back face mask, and I'll show you why. So it just grabs on the highlights essentially. Let's see if I can get a good example here. I'll do a really dark color. But see what I mean? It's not grabbing in all the crevices right here. That's because I have back face mask turned on. So I can use this to like paint shadows. You can obviously render it to get shadows in, but I've noticed that if you have it painted with some shadows and rendered, it looks really, really nice. Now that I've done that, I really feel like this model needs more shadows. Alright, let's get like a dark green. Make that stronger. Not really being consistent with what part of him is glowing. I've decided it's a him, I guess. But that's fine. This is so gross. My goodness. I was really torn on adding teeth because it's an ooze monster, but I decided to not worry about it and just do what I thought looks good. Oh, my parakeet's awake, I guess. Jesus. I don't know if you guys can hear that. He's a little cranky today. He has one feather that is like half fallen out, so he keeps like chewing on it. It's like out. He just won't pull it out because he's molting right now, so he's been like really cranky about that because it probably itches. Let's see. Mahir says, so you're basically painting in the ambient occlusion by using that technique. Exactly. Let's see. Sarah said, I knew a horse who was the laziest creature in a man. He was this old paint. He'd go to other horses, lean all his weight on them, then fall asleep. That's so sweet. Oh, I love that. You know, every paint that I have met, which has only been like 6 or so, he's been a complete nut. I don't know what it is. Like, I'm not saying they're mean. They were just nuts. Like, I don't know. Like a very stereotypical, like, Arabian is like the personality of them. One of them, though, was like as quiet as could be in the saddle, and then the second you were on the ground or turned them out, again, crazy. I'm like, oh, okay. I've never had horses like that because I spend all my time, honestly, on the ground. Like, it's funny, like, I like horseback riding, but probably 80%, if not more, is spent doing groundwork. Mostly because the saddle I have doesn't fit my thoroughbred the way I need it to. He has really high withers, so the saddle just, like, sits on his withers. Like, I can't even use it sometimes. Like, it's super uncomfortable for him. So as a nap, she needs a bareback pad. But, that kind of limits me and how much I can do. If I had a better seat, it wouldn't limit me, but I'm not that. I'm a little out of shape for it. All right. Getting some more color in here. Yeah, I really like this. I'm going to start adding those finer details. Probably need to smooth out this really gross spine thing. I was thinking about adding spikes to his back too, but I don't want to make it... I don't want to introduce too many solids. Though I do like that his teeth even look kind of round and goopier. Kind of. I mean, they look sharp still, but... Alright, got back face mask, and I'm just going to add some thickness to these as well. Because I am going to have to support some of these. That's the only problem. We do like a ring of teeth. Gonna take back face mask off and add some dents into the mouth. Oh, you know what it really needs? It needs some creases on the eyes. I'm not really totally sure how that's going to be supported or how that's going to work, so I'll look at that from a side profile and try and make that make more sense. I don't mean to make him look so sad. I'm just like, I don't know. He's drooping, you know? It does look sad, though. There we go. It's a little better defined. God, that's so gross. Terry's here. Hello. Can't stay long. Game night. Awesome, awesome. And the adjuster asked what kind of game. I assume his D&D game, but, you know, I never actually asked. Alright, I need to add, kind of close off these eyes a little bit, because I don't want to have to support them to print. If I put cavities back there, it's just going to cause a whole bunch of problems. I will need to paint that, though, to cover up how odd that looks. Gonna remove that, make sure the mouth is still really deep. And now adding some light. Not totally sure how I want to do it. Probably something more subtle. I just like to do it really harsh when I am just testing things out, so it's really, really clear. Because I'm definitely not great with colors and stuff. I'm still working on it. That's actually what I was worst with 2D art. Just, like, I have a sense of what colors look good together, but, like, man, if you give me a bunch of colored pencils or like a bottle of paint and you're like, hey, make colors that look good together, or better yet, make them consistent. I can make a color that looks good once, but don't ask me to make that color ever again. I have some paintings in the closet that are very inconsistent. You can see where I ran out of paint of something that I didn't mix and then like tried to make it again and I couldn't. Alright, I see there's some holes right here, so I want to try and close those. There we go. Alright, yep, 5e has 2 games going on now. Sweet. If you have any super awesome encounters, you should share some stories. Yeah, I encourage anyone to do that. That'd be awesome. I love reading D&D stories. I'd share some, but like we only meet once a month right now, and we didn't meet for 2 months because my DM moved to Indiana. We were already doing it online because of COVID, so it kind of worked out. It was a smooth transition. If COVID hadn't happened and forced us to play online, honestly, when he moved, I think it would have probably fallen apart. So I'm really glad that happened. That's not what I want to say. I'm glad it worked out. Ah, goodness. Alright, let's add some more goopies that are dripping on these overhangs. I can't believe I almost said I was grateful for COVID. That's not what I meant. I'm really excited to make this Enchanter's bundle for this month like super awesome. People enjoyed the release last month, and so did I, but between me moving and I don't know, just feeling kind of scattered last month, I was getting kind of unhappy where I was living. So like just waking up every day was like, it just felt like a chore. Anyway, I don't know, I feel like I underperformed a little bit. The models look great, but the amount of effort it took to get to them was like, it took a lot out of me. So I'm excited to be like recharged and be able to make like, put the same amount of effort in, but actually have more to share with you guys. So it's gonna be awesome. All right, those are some good goops. I need to dynamesh this just because I'm doing a lot more stretching. Oh, I dynamashed that way too high. Please don't be over 1,000,000 points. It will be. Terry says, will do. Accidentally freed a vampire lord that had been trapped for thousands of years last game. Good job. Luckily, he's part of the main plot, or it would have been a TPK. Sarah says, I've caused the apocalypse 2 times. Nice. Not underperforming at all. Terry says, yeah, Roll20 has been awesome. Same we use. I bought our DM the subscription for a few months, and he's managed to put a few games on it. Pretty nice, actually. Yeah, my DM just bought Roll20, and he doesn't have, like, a Venmo or anything, and, like, I'm like, no, like, let me help, like, pay for it. I don't know. If he is watching this, we'll see. I'll just send him money. Let's see. Sarah says, we were supposed to stop it, not exasperate it. Oh. Well, in that case, bad job. See, I don't want to support these either. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mask this bottom portion and just drag these down to where they connect. But they'll be like these little goopy chambers you can like paint in between. I'll make sure to inflate them. Not like that. Not like that. At the bottom here, so it looks a little more intentional rather than I just dragged this mesh through itself. And then in that case, since it's fully supported, I can actually use a pinch brush and make this extra skinny and super gross. Yeah, disgusting. Good job, me. Jester says, I should be able to get our gang going again. Man, I miss having friends over. I know, I feel it. Again, I live in California, and our governor, Gavin Newsom, he just had the most recent statement today or yesterday. Anyway, everything's closed again. So restaurants, movie theaters. I don't think movie theaters ever actually reopened, but that was on the list. Mostly like restaurants and bars and wineries. Those are all closed like entirely for another 3 weeks, other than takeout, I think. Which is a bummer, but I totally understand. Zaxa says, hey, my group released the first vampire with power equivalent to a deity. Pretty similar. Could have been worse, though. Could it? Yeah, I mean, it always can be. That's awesome, though. That's why I love D&D so much. Like, every story is so unique, but sometimes, like, the big screw-ups, like, everyone's like, oh, yeah, I've done that. It's cool. Zaxa says, our group got ambushed by cultists and kidnapped by barbarians. Not a good time, but sounds potentially fun combat. And then Jester says, it's a good thing he has his own winery in his basement. That sounds super luxurious. Very nice. I miss talking with all of you guys. I know it hasn't really been that long because I've still been live streaming at least once a week. But again, I was tired. As you guys can tell, I'm a lot chattier than I've been. And again, like, I wasn't unhappy. Like, I'm that kind of person who, like, will look back on something and be like, oh, I wasn't very happy. But in that moment, I'm not like, I'm unhappy. Like, I don't know. I just don't think of it in terms like that. I'll be stressy. I'm the most anxious person I know. I'm really good about that. And it's like, what are you stressed about? And I'm like, nothing. That is the point of anxiety. I'm just stressy. It's very annoying. But I've been a lot better with that recently, too. I'm just smiling because I'm reading all of your guys' comments and ridiculous stories. But if I keep reading them out loud, I'm not going to get anything done. Not that I mind, because, you know, I've actually gotten this done a lot more quickly than I expected to. I feel like it still needs a bunch more droopies. I really like these ones right here. There we go. I'll do some small ones like that. I'm just trying to avoid having to support a bunch of things. And by me, I mean Ricky. Ricky does all the supports now. Alright, that looks pretty good. I did Dynamesh it. Oh, it is at 3 million points. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. Let's bring the resolution down to 400, see how that does. Sarah says, does anyone have good ideas of how to get a party to bond and turn a cohesive group and not a bunch of martyr hobos who are going to ditch the rest? Honestly, I don't know. I have someone in my party member, like our party, who like, it's not like I'm not friends with them. I didn't talk to them prior to this group forming. And yeah, like, they drive me nuts. It's the same kind of thing. It's like, please stop doing stupid shit. Like, you might be saying it in more of an affectionate way. For me, it's more like a chronic, like it's annoying way. I've noticed if you just pitch normal ideas as if they're crazy and ridiculous, sometimes they'll go with it. Like, I'll be like, hey, let's do this totally radical thing and like follow the plot line. But I won't say it facetious like that. I'll actually like word it in a way that sounds like it's risky, but in reality it's just following the very, very nice, interesting plot line we've been working so hard towards. I don't know. It doesn't super work well, but or just be like, I don't know, be a super strong, and if they do anything dumb, just smite them. I'm a rogue, so like I can't do that. Terry says, Sarah, that's so hard. Hey, this group I play with, we're all strangers to me except the DM. One of the other players and I become friends and start a second game that's much more roleplay oriented. Yeah, that's the best way to be, for sure. As of right now, and like our campaign, I just prefer combat because that can't be screwed up. Generally speaking. Or it's harder to. I guess it just annoys me less. But on the plus side, I've noticed if you just bring it up to your DM, they usually do a really good job of like trying to rein in those kind of players. In my mind, it's best to do what Terry did and just take the one that you like and split off with them, make your own game. Highly recommend. Jester says, my group of friends goes full out with voices, actions, and over-the-top enthusiasm. See, that's, like, beautiful. I love that. I am way too shy to do accents, but I'm hoping in, like, a year I'll, like, metamorphose or whatever. Like, that's not the word I meant to use, but, like, the same process. My brain's, like, catalyst. That's not it. I can't think of what it is. Whatever. The butterfly process thing. Chrysalis. That's the word I'm thinking of. Anyway. And I'll, like, be like peak nerddom, and I won't be too shy to do stuff like that. Because I think not taking yourself as seriously and just being able to like really get into things is the way to like be happier. I think that's why kids always seem so happy, because they're not so, you know, concerned about that. So who knows? Maybe in the future I'll have all kinds of ridiculous voices, and they don't have to be good. That's why I love like Sarah Bailey, like her, when she does Jester, like Jester, that's not like a real or a technical accent, but it's consistent and it's fantastic, you know? I would love to do something like that. But again, not anytime soon. I'm still super shy. People usually confuse when I say that I'm shy. It's like, oh, like, you're like well-spoken and whatever. I'm like, I have no problem talking and being around people, but it doesn't mean that's like easy or the most comfortable for me. I've just had a lot of jobs where like it was literally my job to be like a greeter or stuff like that, so I've gotten really used to it, which is good, because otherwise I just never leave my room, and I'd be totally happy doing that. To be honest, this quarantine has not been that hard on me. I'd be like, oh yeah, I see my friends like 10% less than I used to. Ah, goodness. But on the plus side, that has made me realize that, hey, maybe I should be a little bit more social. And I have, and it's been quite nice. It's almost like people are social or something. Terry says, man, that slime monster's looking sweet. Thank you. Yeah, I've been doing it kind of mindlessly because I've just been chatting with you guys, but it's actually turning out really good. Zaxa says, accents are less awkward when everyone is doing them. Right? I feel like that makes a lot of sense, but I don't know anyone else that will do it either. I'm working on it. Well, I know all of you guys. I keep teasing I'm going to do a game or something, and like, again, working on the courage for that. We'll see. Mia, the hey was a Canadian. Oh my god. Canadian A. Just FYI. I'm just like, hey. Super dry. Mihir says, I just keeping the slime would make an interesting print in flexible, clear, tinted resin. Like the Prusa transparent green tough resin. Oh my god, that'd be so cool. That'd be so freaking cool. That was best comment. See, I do this for like, I keep moving this down. You guys can't tell, but like in real life, I just have like this big like poof of hair. I can feel it. There we go. Alright. I'm gonna add the rippley gross textures that I don't like right now. And then merge the head finally and blend this, and we'll be set. I do want to add more like drips on this side too, but I kind of like having just this one side be a little more detail heavy because I do have it moving like to the left. That's just a clever way of being like, I just don't want to do more of work that feels the same. There's different textures to paint. There we go. That's why I'm doing it. Or not doing it. Alright, let's make that Z intensity way lower. And then, since this side has all the droops, I will texture this side a little more intensely. I'm going to increase the focus shift so it's not as harsh, and put on back face mask again because I don't like having to deal with when the bottom like sucks up and stuff. Alright. That will paint really well. See, my natural design brain is like, no, make those softer. But I've noticed recently, after seeing some of my models painted, it really pays to make those textures as exaggerated, as possible. That's like a frog in my throat. But of course, I'm just gonna keep talking instead of waiting 5 seconds. Okay. Gonna add a few more on this side just for like continuity. And then I'll find some different alphas to use as well. And probably a little hand sculpting too. This came out pretty cool. Again, like I would have never made something like this on my own inclination, even though I do like sculpting gross things too. It's another reason why I don't know, I just think Patreon's the coolest. Because if I got to pick, I voted for the Undead Bestiary, but that one really did not win. I mean, that one and steampunk, I was surprised, were tied for last. That's a terrible pun. Jester says, I bet that sign likes to speak moistly. For some reason, that felt like a tongue twister. Sarah, badumts. Peter says, thank you for your advice today. Hope I'm back on track soon. Your models are very cool. Thank you, Peter. I appreciate it. Alright, so I'm going to add some raised textures right now and probably put those more on like the belly chest thing. I really like these little orbs right here. I feel like I wanted to add a bunch more of those, but sometimes less is more. I just don't want too much of this to be completely smooth. Just because I've noticed it's actually really hard to paint stuff that's like completely smooth. It just ends up looking like blank. Yeah, this is like super, super gross. Alright, I'm going to merge this down and now I'm going to Dynamesh it all together so I can fix this seam right here for the head. Because I definitely don't want to look so tacked on. Oh yeah, what time is it? 6:15. I'm going to live stream till pretty much exactly another hour. Just letting you guys know. Alright, I'm going to go to Lightbox and grab the Stronger Smooth because I didn't actually construct this in subdivision levels. That's because I Dynameshed a little too high and then didn't fix it. Not a huge deal. Especially because I'm not going to be posing this model. Where is Smooth? There it is. Alright, Smooth Stronger. I've noticed it does a really good job. There we go. Much better. Alright, backface mask is still on. So now, just add a little bit more paint. I'm not going to worry about painting this side of it too much just because the render is going to be from this angle. Alright, I like the intensity, just not the color. Oh, I'm more on the blue side, that's why. It's still coming a little too yellow. It probably just has to do with the adjustment I have on this too. And by what I mean by that is if we had a render right here, so this is how ZBrush normally looks, and yes, it's really this dark, and I don't understand why it's so dark. Boop. So I have it significantly brighter. Let's see how that looks from the front. It looks interesting, but definitely too harsh. Yeah, it's not super working the way I want it to, which is fine. There we go. So I'll try it on this side instead. lower the intensity. I really just want to get like more of a contrast here. That isn't so yellow. It's just going to look yellow in this context. That's fine. There we go. It's better. It's more the contrast I'm looking for. It might be interesting to have the center of the mouth actually be a lighter color. I mean, normally be darker. Yeah, I prefer it darker. There we go. Alright, now I'm going to go through and just add some darker shadows here. I have to get pretty close to just like black because of all the filters I have on this. Looking a bit more like radioactive almost now. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. Just a standard creepy ooze monster. Not too overcomplicated. But I do feel like I want to add something to these little goops right here. Maybe if I had like more tendrils coming off. And then I can go through with the inflate brush. I think they're just gonna break off when you pop this off the build plate, but if they stay, that'd be cool. Yeah, I think I like having these there. They need a little bit of work though. They're just a little bit too thin. And right now I'm just masking the bottom because I just like to check when this is perfectly flat or not. As you can see, it's not. So what I'll do is I'll grab this absolute lowest point, and I'll just go through here with masking turned on and just mask this out. Being careful not to grab the edges too much. There we go, looks good. And then I just go in with trim rectangle and trim it up. That's how I just did the bottom perfectly flat. I usually trim it again in Mesh Mixer, but this is just a really cheap and dirty way of doing it. Jester says, the slime's looking fantastic. Thank you. Okay, it's mad that it has to cut this piece off, so just gonna let it sit for a second. It thinks it wants to freeze, but just give it a second. Sometimes it does better. It's not wanting to. I probably should have saved before I did this. Not a huge deal. I would give it a little bit of time though. This slime looks super gross. Happy with it though. 3D Print Viking is here. Hey, hello. I'm making it ooze and it's very gross and very cool. However, I went to trim the bottom to make it flat and it wants to crash, but I'm like in total denial about it. So I've been sitting here for like 30 seconds just hoping it'll just do its job. It's not. So, just waiting. Okay, it's not gonna do it. It's fine. I'll just open the quick save file like a peasant. That hurt me a little bit. It's okay. This is why I have quick save files like every 2 minutes. I changed that on like one of my models because I was doing it too often towards the end. So it makes me like concerned like there won't be one, but I know there will. Alright, that's all the stuff I worked on last month. Tons and tons of quick save files. And here is the most recent. And yeah, what do you know? It's all there. Perfect. So I'll go ahead and save this. Alright, we're just gonna try it again. This time I Dynameshed first, it might like that more. Because usually it's pretty quick. There we go. Still gonna save. Make this background black. There we go. Pardon the flashing. And probably put the light somewhere up here. That's actually a good spot. And then for shadow, I just usually generally have these settings. And I tweak them as needed. Mihir says, I'm amazed at how many quick saves you have. I can't stop having anything in my current project I'm working on in my quick saves. I just work on so many models. Like, I probably work on at least 2 a day. So they just stack up. I don't pay attention to it. Alright, this is a good render, but I usually like my shadows being a little harsh and like dramatic. Tacky, if you will. So let's get some harsher lighting. Turn the shadow strength up. That helps. Maybe like a lower angle usually looks a little more spooky. Yeah, I don't really like that. About from this side. That's better. I wanted to get that shadow inside its mouth. Yeah, it's super gross. I still wish the colors popped a little more, so let me go through here. It just needs some sort of like highlight. Probably just that's fine actually. It's kind of helped define the silhouette a little bit more too. I would like if I could get like a light just on the edge right here. I could do that if I just use a different material, but I won't. Here, that should do it. Yeah, just super slight. I'm gonna trim this one more time, but with black. Because it's kind of like peeping through and looking a little odd. I'm gonna laugh if this crashes again. Whatever. Come on. It's like sometimes it's cool with this, sometimes it's not. Man, the last stages of this model have been really slow. Hey, Clute's here. What up? I'm just trying to trim the bottom of this and it froze again. I just don't learn. Come on. This is not a big operation. Ooh, goop. Okay, I'm just gonna, this is not gonna work. I mean, it will if I just let it sit here long enough, but like I just don't have patience for it. When I'm live streaming, like I can't just, I mean I can just wander away and get a snack, but I generally don't, so. I really do have a lot of quick save files right now. You know, I already did last month's release. Did it not save again? Was all of my beautiful painting work for nothing? Ugh, the drama. Whatever. That was like 2.5 minutes of painting. I've never had this much trouble with trimming the bottom of a model. Like, it's generally not a big deal. Alright. It liked it most when I dynameshed and then trimmed. Even though it shouldn't matter. Alright, I'm going to change this to black because when I didn't do this before, and it trimmed this with the lighter color underneath, it's making the edges look weird in the render. Oh yeah, I didn't. Wow, I didn't do the thing. Dramatic. Okay. This is the last time I'm going to do this far. Alright, and this time I have a better idea of how I want to paint this too. It really needs just more contrast, so just adding those highlights in there did a lot. Is this really not doing this? My goodness. Whatever. Let's see. Oh, hey, RB Gaming's here. Hello. Good morning from India. How are you doing? I'm cranky right now because I keep trying to trim this and it's just being totally dumb. I do this with all of my models and it's not a big deal. But with this one, it's like, no, I'm going to freeze every time and it's just ridiculous. Whatever. So, since this just keeps happening, I'm finally, after the third time, I'm giving up with this. I'll just do it at the very, very end. I generally like having it that clean throughout the entire time, but it's not essential. Pretty soon here I'll be upgrading to a computer that has more cores too, because ZBrush is really CPU intensive, meaning obviously it's good to have lots of RAM, but what it really, really matters is also having lots of cores, and mine has 4. The ones I'm looking at have like 8, and well, really 6. There's not a whole lot of 8 options for what I want to do. RB says use Boolean instead. I don't have a lot of luck with Booleans. It's dumb for me a lot of times, so I'm just not going to worry about it. I can really just do it at the end, or I can do it in Mesh Mixer. But I do appreciate the tip. Just going to lower that a little bit. That way I know it's all flush for when I trim that off later. Even though it looks dumb right now, that's fine. I just want to get some painting done and then save it. Alright. Get a better green color here. I think I finally found the green that I want. Sometimes that backface mask trick works really well, and other times I have a hard time getting it to work. It has to do with, obviously, the angle that you're doing it at, but like right here, I can't think of what angle that is. I'll just go back to it later. Alright, having these highlights making this look way better. It's the same way, like, when people are asking like how they like to improve their models and stuff, it's like push your colors and push your pose. It's like take whatever angle you have on the hips and shoulders, just push it farther. Same goes for the colors. Alright, so since this is not doing what I want it to, I'm just going to use the flatten deformer for right now. That's on the wrong axis. This way, there we go. And yeah, that works just fine too. I think it makes the topology a little weird. Yeah, no, I did a fine job actually. Alright, cool. this looks pretty solid. It should look better with the render. Because before the colors were just too similar, so I just wasn't crazy about it. I am curious about adding maybe some different texture here. See, I want to add almost like make it look more like a forest creature, but it's really not consistent with the theme. I was playing with and seeing what it looked like if it had some like spikes on it. It's cool, but it's not consistent with what the rest of the design reads as. I do think it needs some clear definitions right here, but that kind of defeats the whole point of ooze. I'm just used to having somewhere that's like sharp and well defined, but I guess that's really just these points in the silhouette. I still want to have like something more defined on it. I think I'm cool with just adding a few right here. Let's see how that looks. And then RB Gaming mentioned another trick to flattening the bottom. Yeah, there's actually a ton of different ways. I think, yeah, the 3D Gizmo, the Deformer, Booleans, trim rectangle, a bunch of other trim brushes. What else? You could split, you could mask it, split it, and then close holes. That'd be another way to do it. Here's a bunch. Here it says, one trick I was taught is to push it past the breaking point and then rein it back in until it looks right again. That's a really, really good tip. I'm trying to... That's a really good one. Yeah, I'll hold on to that. And then Clute says, I like how the lighter color green appears to be radiating light. That's what I was trying to go for, so I appreciate you saying that because I was struggling with it. See? And then Clute says, depends on if something got caught in its viscous form. That's very true. I did think about putting like skulls in it and stuff. I really wanted this design to read pretty clearly. I tend to busy up my designs a little bit. So this looks awesome. Yes. Alright, I'm really, really happy with this. It's disgusting. Alright, and these are what's going to end up on Patreon in a couple weeks. So that's render 1, and then I'll do another one from this side. I forgot that I do all sides now, but that's fine. I'm still thinking about what Mahir said about like push it past its breaking point and then rein it back in. Like I'm thinking about all my models I like the most that are most successful, and like honestly that was very similar to like that's how I did the posing for him. It's just hard to fix sometimes, like if you screw up the mesh too much, you know. Sometimes I don't end up using all 3 renders, all 3 sides, but they're just nice to have. It just looks like a pile. My goodness. The texture right here and the color just reminds me of a pickle. Alright. There we go. throw that render on the front of this again one more time. Okay, let's look at this. Make sure there's nothing like glaringly wrong with it. Pretty happy with that. That's why I have all the little droopies like by its head, because I want that to be like the focal point. Pretty much every model I do, the head's the focal point. There's been like 2 where that wasn't the case. Like the Peacock Griffin, the head was not the focal point, it was the wings. But pretty much everything else, it's the head. I dig it. Let's see, Clute says, fabulous looking flubber for sure. And Clute says, I feel you with the busy. Right? It's hard to stop. Your models look great though, don't get me wrong. Let's see, Clute says, agreed, it looks like it just wants a kiss. Big kiss. RV Gaming model looks great, thank you. Gaming says, I'm still not fully awake. I set the alarm 40 minutes ago, but phone gave up on me, battery was low. I didn't notice that, and I'm late. Great. Ah, that's okay. Mahir says, so what computer are you looking at for more cores? You know, I'm embarrassed that you asked because it's gonna sound like I've done no research. Like I don't remember any of the names, which I know sounds totally fake. Like you haven't looked. I swear to God I have. They were not Macs, I can tell you that. One of them was called like a Concept. It was like Concept D or something, and it was overpriced and weird for what it was. It like flipped around and stuff. I'm not helping my case here. If Ricky wasn't in the other room, I'd just yell and ask him because he remembers the names and he's better than me. I think the Surface Book 3 that came out, the new one, I think that also still only has 4 cores, which is annoying. If it had more, then I'd just upgrade to that because I love my Surface Book. It's been fantastic. Other than the pressure sensitivity, like I know it doesn't work most of the time. Again, I really don't care because it pretty much does. The faster the stroke, the lighter the brush works, and that's normally if you're like trying to push down and carve down, like I move slower anyway, so I've just adapted to that without even noticing. But yeah, let's see. I think that's pretty much good. I'm gonna stand up and take a small break, and I will be back. And I'm back. This is a quick like 30-second break. I wanted to grab some water. Zaxxon said, since it's break time, I'm wondering if you read my story. I guess I must have missed it. I feel bad. I feel like I read the rest of them. We talked about accents, and then the vampire god. Oh, I didn't read this last part. I read the first part you said. So we had to deal with the vampire god instead of vampire god under the control of a near deity of horrors and darkness. That sounds very problematic. Oh, I see. I'm reading, yeah, I just read the part where your barbarian sacrificed himself in his own ritual. That bites, man. I mean, for him, obviously, for you, that's so freaking cool. I'm always weirdly sympathetic to the villains. I'm like, wow, your plan failed so hard. I feel bad for you. Even though if their goal is to destroy the world, I'm like, oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how I missed that. I think that's right when I started focusing a little bit more. Because I definitely read Jester's Yay for Blood Sacrifices, and I immediately dropped off. But I'm glad you brought that up. Cool. Mahira mentioned the Concept D. Yeah, it's nice, but horribly overpriced. I thought the same thing. Bang for buck, I'd go for the Asus G14 with separate pen display, since I think you mentioned you have one, I think. I do. I have the Huon... That's not helpful. The Canvas Pro 16. I don't know why. Just like they're just not memorable. They just have different numbers and stuff, and I'm like, just call it like the canvas zebra, and I'd remember. Anyway, I'm gonna write that down on this computer, Asus G14. So what would you recommend for a pen tablet? Because I'm actually open to it, because I don't move around as much. Now that I've moved here, we actually stay here, which is nice. I don't travel. Because I'm really picky with tablets. I like being able to look at like a 4K screen. Because now, like, I don't know, like 1080 screens, when like some tablets aren't even 1080. But anyway, when they're large, it looks so pixelated. You know what I mean? It's such a small, silly complaint, but it drives me nuts. Because I'm used to looking at like nice displays all day. I noticed that like the Cintiqs, like they're expensive, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're great, which I thought was weird. Zaxa says, if it hadn't been a nat 20, it wouldn't have happened. Very lucky roll. And very, very cool. That is neat. Mahir says, I have a Cintiq Pro 16. I remember you going on a rant against Wacom. Or Wacom. What do I say? Wacom. Wasn't much of a rant. I just don't think they're worth it for beginners. I know a lot of beginners will buy a $3,000-$4,000 tablet, and I'm like, it was more like a rant against beginners. Like, please stop spending so much money and thinking that your equipment equals being good. More of that. And then Mahir says, I'm very partial to it. Okay, I'm glad that you like it. I will look it up as well. Alright, so I have the Asus 14. I need to put this in a different tab. And at this point, I just want something that works. I don't really care. Like, brand or whatever it is. And not like just works, but like works well. Because, you know, I do this for 8-10 hours a day. I've heard amazing things about the Cintiq Pro 16. Really just Cintiqs in general. I think Clute has one too. And thank you for the computer recommendation. I appreciate it. Alright, I have all that written down. Clute says one day I'll upgrade my Wacom Cintiq. But I'm also like interested in upgrading, and I'm excited about it because it's I live in the United States, and the way we do taxes here and stuff, we can deduct business expenses, and we're taxed on our net income, not on our gross. So this would be very tax deductible, and I like that. Wacom works, but it has an issue that is the everyday. If I didn't shut down the night before, I need to restart the driver. That's kind of annoying, but like it's as long as you get in the habit of shutting it off, I can see it not being too big of a deal. And then Clute says, I bought a used Wacom Cintiq 22 HD Touch. Okay. I think you like it. I think you remember saying that you liked it. Again, my biggest issue is just like, I want something that's big. Because what I have right now, I feel like you guys can't see it. And the only thing for scale is my head. I don't know. I have a normal head size. Anyway, my screen is this big. It's this tall. And I love that. So it's like a head and a half of me tall. I would like that. You would not think I have a degree in engineering. Anyway. This looks really good. That's why I'm not starting anything else, because I don't want to put something on the screen that's not finished. Because I'm actually going to stop the live stream pretty soon here. So I might just end it on this really awesome, good note. Because, I mean, look at it. And right here, you got to put some sort of portfolio together. I want to see your stuff. Because I can put, like, you know, art to the artist's name. Just think it's fun. I'm looking up. Let's see. RB Gaming says they have an XP Pen 22E Pro, and they're going to buy a Wacom soon. Why? I'm just curious. Because if you did your research and stuff, I'm curious. Wacom seems awesome. It seems like the go-to. Because I'm trying to see what the difference is between like the best Huon and the best Wacom, and it just seems like preference and touch. You know? Jester says, great stream. Sound looks epic. Have an excellent night, me and everyone else. Jester, you're always a bundle of joy, and I love it. Thank you. You have a great night, too. Meanwhile, I'm going to sit here for a bit, because you guys are all talking about Wacom stuff, and, like, it's rubbing off on me. I'm just like, I need it. I know it's, like, the brand, and I think a lot of it has to do with, because of just, you know, brands build up recognition, they build up name, but they're not actually that much better than the competitors. But in this case, I mean, everyone uses it. It has to be better, right? Like, I'm starting to think that. You're selling me, guys. I still don't recommend it for beginners. Unless you get the Wacom Intuos. I loved that thing. It's on a display tablet. Little black thing about this big, with a bunch of little dots. There's like a teal mint colored one that's really cute. Clute says one of us, one of us. Yeah. Cause I mean, do you guys see this pen that I'm using? Like, there's nothing ergonomic about this. It works out because like I hold my pen so loosely. I put it between like my ring finger and my middle finger, which is weird because that's not how I write. I write like how most people do. I feel like what's normal, like pinching it. You know what I mean? I don't know. Having to do this and like putting this here to hook was really weird. But I just did that because I was desperate to make my wrist stop hurting, and then I just learned to work like this, and it really worked out. I should make a video about that. I feel like that might help other people. There's a video I saw on YouTube that was super helpful too, about artists talking about like how they change like their setup and stuff to stop having any wrist pains and stuff. Because now I don't have wrist pain. I just have this muscle right here gets sore, but that's normal. And I'm like, yay, that's not tendonitis. I think it actually technically can be because there is a tendon there. But it's not what it was before. I'm glad at least it's a new issue. And the old issue is gone, to be clear. But yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap this one up. Let's see, wait. Clute says, I can say that I've tried a Unova, which is a knockoff Huon, and it wasn't bad, but a little glitchy. Makes sense. I'm like a Huon snob just because I've had several and they were amazing. The first one I had actually sucked. I don't know why I said that. But the second one was such a huge improvement and actually like had good colors on it. I was like, oh. Alrighty. You guys were amazing. I'm glad you enjoyed my snot monster here. You guys have been amazing. And I will be here again tomorrow at 6 p.m. The link is already up, so you don't have to dig for it. You bookmark it. There it is. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.